A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor. Well, it is the 1st of April today, start of a new financial year, and there are now new rules that come into effect from today. From income tax, saving accounts, insurance to non-BS4 vehicles. Well, the impact of those rules is our top story this morning. A look at the other big stories in the headlines. New financial year begins. A one-page form for filing of IT returns. Penalty on cash transactions above 2 lakh. Petrol, diesel cheaper. GST Council approves 5 amended rules for GST regime. Remaining 4 get tentative nod. Next meeting on 18th and 19th of May. Growth in 8 core sectors slips to over one-year low of 1%. Coal, steel production see positive growth during February. 24 people killed and over 70 injured in the blast outside mosque in northwest Pakistan. Attack carried out by faction of Pakistani Taliban. And PV Sindhu beats Saina Nehwal to reach semi-final of Indian Open Super Series to face South Korea's Sung Ji-hyun today. Well, the new financial year begins from today. Well, several new rules and regulations come into effect from today. Well, here are a few of them. There will be a penalty on cash transactions of over 2 lakh rupees from today. There will be charges for non-maintenance of minimum balance in accounts. Also, e-filing of ITR will start, and the government has notified a simpler one-page form for filing of income tax returns. Well, personal income tax for people with income in the slab of 2.5 lakh to 5 lakh rupees will be reduced to 5% instead of 10%. Now, surcharge of 10% to be levied on individuals with income between 50 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees. Also, there will be a slew of commodities that will get costly and those that will get cheaper as well. Well, a domestic RO water filter and its RO component, online railway tickets, solar-powered equipments, POS machines, that is the point of sale machines card will be cheap, while health insurance, vehicle insurance, mobile phones manufactured in India, cigarettes, chewing tobacco, BDs, pan masala will get costlier. Also, there will be no stamping or tagging of hand baggage at 7 major airports. Well, Delhi Metro smart cards, however, become non-refundable. On to some other news. Well, the GST Council approved 5 amended rules for the goods and services tax regime. It also gave a tentative nod to the remaining 4. Well, the final nod to the 4 rules as also fixation of the GST rate for major commodities and services will be done in the next meeting. That will be on 18th and 19th of May. Remember, the Council gave final approval for changes in rules for filing of income tax returns in the new regime, registration of entities, payment of GST, invoicing and refunds to make them compatible with the GST laws approved by the Lok Sabha this week. While the remaining rules on how input tax credit is to be calculated and claimed, valuation of a supply of goods and services, method of intimidation of opting for composition levy and transitional rules were given tentative approval.
Today, as the position stand out of the 9 set of rules, the original 5 which we had approved have been corrected in terms of the amendment and brought in consonance with the Act. Those now become final. And the 4 new rules have been tentatively approved, will be put in public domain, and in the next meeting will be taken up for consideration.
And the prices of petrol and diesel have been slashed with effect from Friday midnight. Well, in the first change in the rates in 2.5 months, well, prices of petrol was cut by 3.77 rupees per litre, excluding the state levies, while that of diesel by 2.91 rupees a litre. Well, the reduction in prices comes with a sharp fall in global rates. Indian Oil Corporation said in a statement that current level of international oil prices and rupee US dollar exchange rate warranted a decrease in the price. Well, the rates were last revised on 16th of January when the price of petrol went up by 54 paise. On that date, diesel rates were also hiked by 1.2 rupees a litre. And the growth of country's 8 core sectors slipped to an over 1 year low of 1% in February this year. Well, the slip was mainly due to fall in output of crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers and cement. The 8 core sectors had expanded 9.4% in February last year and 3.4% in January this year. Well, according to Commerce and Industry Ministry data, crude oil output contracted 3.4% in February this year. Natural gas output shrank by 1.7%. Refinery products output fell 2.3%. Fertilizer output declined 5.3%. And cement output dropped 15.8% during the month. But coal and steel production recorded a positive growth during this month. And the Union Cabinet has approved ratification of 2 fundamental conventions of the International Labour Organization for the eradication of child labour. Well, the Minimum Age Convention and the Worst Forms of Child Labour Convention have been approved. Well, besides this, the Cabinet also gave its approval for the updation of the existing air services agreement between India and Serbia to improve air connectivities between the 2 countries. Also, the Cabinet approved changes to the Motor Vehicles Amendment Bill 2016. Well, the amended bill is likely to be moved in the Lok Sabha next week. Well, the bill is aimed at stricter penalties for high-risk offences like drunken driving, dangerous driving, overloading, non-adherence to safety norms by drivers. The bill also proposes Aadhaar-based verification for the grant of online services, including learner's license. And the deadline for depositing and exchanging scrapped 500,000 rupee notes for Indian citizens who were abroad during the November to December 2016 period that ended on Friday. But many people have said that they had to return without getting their notes exchanged at the Reserve Bank. Take a look.
The government's deadline to exchange scrapped old notes of 500,000 rupees ended on Friday. But problems continued for the people, including NRIs who queued up outside the Reserve Bank of India.
थाड़ी में पड़े रह गए। अब लड़की की शादी 28 तारीख की तो उसमें लेकर अब देखा तो हमें तो दुख होता है। तो 4,500 रुपये कोई ज्यादा भी नहीं हम पे तो।
हम लोग प्लान बना के कल चले कि जुमा है, कल 31 तारीख है, स्कूल छुट्टी भी है, उस हिसाब से यहाँ बच जाएगा। यहाँ आने के बाद पता चला है कि सिर्फ IR वाले का बचेगा, हम लोग का नहीं बचेगा। आने में खर्च भी हो गया और पैसा भी नहीं बच रहा है।
2010 से मैं बंद था जेल में। 17 जनवरी को 2017 को मैं बरी हो गया हूँ और उसके बाद मैं पैसे चेंज करने आया तो मुझसे एप्लीकेशन ले लिया गया। कहा आपको 2 बार बुलाया गया, बाद में अब आया हूँ तो कहते हैं आपका पैसा अब नहीं चेंज होगा।
NRI है, क्यों नहीं पैसे मिलने चाहिए? OCI इसीलिए बनाया है कि हम एवरी ईयर आते हैं। इंडियन इसीलिए ये बनता है कि हम इंडियन भी है, इसीलिए ये बनता।
The massive crowd deterred many people who stayed in India for a week after demonetization from exchanging their old notes. Many NRIs who work as laborers in West Asian countries were also turned away for failing to produce customs declaration certificates. NRIs, however, can exchange their scrap notes till the 30th of June.
जिनके पास ब्लैक मनी है उनकी तो वाइट हो चुकी है, लेकिन जो आम आदमी है जिनके पास अपने रुपए बचे हुए हैं ना, वो उनको एक्सचेंज करने में दिक्कत हो रही है।
तो हम नियरली 5th में इधर आ गए नोट बटाने के लिए, लेकिन ये लोग नहीं बटा रहे। फिर इन लोग ने बोला कि नोटबंदी 31 को 29 को होएगी, मार्च को उधर चेंज हो जाएगा, लेकिन वो अभी वो भी नहीं देते। वो बोलते हैं भाई ये लाओ सभी है, लेकिन नहीं देते।
The government had issued an ordinance stating that only those who stayed abroad, armed forces personnel posted in remote areas, or others who could give valid reasons for not being able to deposit the cancelled notes could do so till the 31st of March. The issue of the time limit to convert old currency notes is still pending in Supreme Court.
Deadline of 31st March is passed for the Indians who were out of country during the period of demonetization. But the thousands people are still hopeful of getting a single window to exchange their old notes and to save their hard-earned money. In New Delhi, with cameraman Shyamlal, this is Panchanan Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on in the bulletin now, well, the heat wave continues to intensify across the country with the mercury rising in many cities of the country. Well, Bhopal recorded the highest maximum temperature in the city for March in 21 years. Well, mercury soared to 40.8 degrees Celsius in Bhopal. Meanwhile, Khajuraho recorded 43 degrees Celsius. Maharashtra also witnessed scorching heat with the Akola district in Vidarbha reporting the state's highest maximum temperature at 44 degrees Celsius. Pune reported a rise of 6.2 degrees Celsius in its minimum temperature at 24 degrees Celsius. Now, Banda in Uttar Pradesh recorded a high of 43.6 degrees Celsius and was the hottest place in Uttar Pradesh, where several districts registered above normal temperatures. Well, according to the Met Department, the day temperatures rose at many places and was above normal in districts like Varanasi, Faizabad, Jhansi and Agra. Meanwhile, states like Gujarat and Telangana also witnessing soaring temperatures, while people in the national capital also were seen embracing the summers with air conditioners, coolers and lemonades. And what else is making news across the country? Let's go nationwide. The Yogi Adityanath government in Uttar Pradesh has banned any strike by employees in state universities and colleges till 30th of June under the stringent Essential Services Maintenance Act. Well, the act gives police the powers to arrest without a warrant anybody violating its provisions. The Supreme Court has modified its order banning liquor vends within 500 meters on the national and the state highways. The Apex Court has now reduced that distance to 220 meters in areas having a population up to 20,000. Well, a bench headed by Chief Justice J.S. Kher, however, made it clear that its earlier order banning such vends within 500 meters of highways shall remain operative for areas other than specified in the order. The second unit of the Kudankulam nuclear power plant project with a capacity of 1,000 megawatts became operational on Friday. This will give a boost to atomic power generation in the country. The commercial operation of Unit 2 is expected to take the total nuclear power generation to 6,780 megawatts. And in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates a message of wisdom.
Welcome back. Let's get you news from Parliament now. Well, just days after the Budgam encounter that killed 3 civilians, well, Home Minister Rajnath Singh accused Pakistan of promoting terrorism in the Kashmir Valley and luring youths to help the terrorists. Well, responding to the issue in the Lok Sabha on Friday, Rajnath Singh said that the government is taking all steps to resolve the situation in the valley.
Making a statement in Lok Sabha, Home Minister Rajnath Singh described the situation in the valley as volatile. He said defence forces are working to defuse the situation. Accusing Pakistan of promoting terrorism in the valley, Singh said that security forces are dealing with terrorists exactly as they should and will continue to do so.
और पाक स्पॉन्सर्ड टेररिस्ट बराबर जम्मू कश्मीर में दहशत का माहौल वह पैदा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं और मैं यह मानता हूं कि जम्मू और कश्मीर में ही वह दहशत पैदा नहीं करना चाहते अथवा केवल जम्मू और कश्मीर को ही डिस्टेबलाइज करने की वह कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हैं बल्कि यह आतंकवादी पूरे भारत को ही डिस्टेबलाइज करने की उनकी तरफ से कोशिश हो रही है और मैं सदन को यह अवगत कराना चाहता हूं और हम सबको इस बात का नाज भी होना चाहिए उपसभापति महोदय कि आतंकवादियों को जिस तरीके से जवाब दिया जाना चाहिए उसी तरीके से उसी लहजे में हमारे सेना के और सुरक्षा के जवान उनको जवाब दे रहे हैं.
Rajnath Singh also accused Pakistan of using the social media to incite youths to storm encounter sites in Kashmir to help militants. His response came after some members in Lok Sabha raised the issue of death of 3 civilians in Budgam in firing by security forces. Trinamool Congress MP Shogoto Roy had sought the Home Minister's intervention in Zero Hour, saying the situation in the Kashmir Valley was grave.
Now the situation in Kashmir is so grave. I think the Home Minister should step in again. The Jammu and Kashmir Police Chief on Thursday asked the youth to desist from the practice of storming encounter sites to pelt stones at the security forces during raging gun battles with the terrorists. He described the practice as tantamount to committing suicides.
He said the strife-torn region was witnessing a new trend in which youths from nearby villages gather at encounter sites and pelt stones to help militants flee. The Home Minister also said that Pakistan-sponsored terrorists are trying to destabilize not just Kashmir but entire India. Ravindra Shiran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And members in the upper house expressed a concern over stone pelting incidents in the Kashmir Valley. Well, Shambhu Prasad Tundia of the BJP said that it was important to identify these stone pelters and prosecute them on charges of terrorism.
Raising the issue during Zero Hour, Shambhu Prasad Tundia of the BJP drew attention of the House on the stone pelting protesters near the encounter site in central Kashmir's Budgam district. He alleged that a large number of protesters pelted stones at security forces when they were engaged in an exchange of fire with militants during an incident on the 28th of March.
बाहर से आए हुए जो आतंकी परिवार है, उनके लिए उनके बचाव के लिए बीच में आकर के हमारे ही देश के कुछ लोग जो है वो गुमराह होकर रास्ते से भटक करके पत्थरबाजी कर रहे हैं, पथराव करके सेना की कार्रवाई में अड़चने डाल रहे हैं। उनकी इस सदन के माध्यम से कड़ी निंदा करते हुए मैं सभी से ये अनुरोध करता हूं कि ऐसे लोग जो देश में रह रहे हैं उनके ऊपर सख्त के सख्त कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए।
Meanwhile, Harivansh of the JDU urged the government to appoint a regular defence minister while expressing concern over some recent incidents of fire in ordnance factories.
जबलपुर में दिल्ली से आग बुझाने सेना की 3 टीमें जबलपुर गई। सेना के सामने आज कई बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं। उन चुनौतियों को हल करने के लिए जरूरी है कि वहां कोई स्थायी मंत्री हो, कम से कम एक स्थायी मंत्री तो सेना डिफेंस को दीजिए।
In another zero-hour mention, Tapan Sen of the CPIM raised the issue of non-appointment of Lokpal.
Lokpal is not being appointed. It is being delayed and being encouraged by non-appointment of Lokpal in many states. Lokayuktas are also not being appointed.
Issues regarding security of whistleblowers and missing girls in Bihar also found mention during Zero Hour in the upper house. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news now. Well, the Supreme Court has rejected Calcutta High Court Judge Justice C.S. Karnan's appeal to restore his administrative and judicial powers. Well, Justice Karnan was given a month's time to respond to the contempt notice served to him by the Apex Court. Well, a 7-judge bench headed by Chief Justice J.S. Kher asked him to respond to the allegations levelled against various judges and asked him if he was willing to withdraw them and tender an unconditional apology. Well, defined Justice Karnan in his response alleged discrimination and social boycott by companion judges on various grounds, including his caste. He also challenged the Apex Court to arrest and put him in jail for contempt and refused to appear for the next hearing. Well, this is the first instance in the history of Indian judiciary where a sitting High Court judge is facing contempt proceedings and has a bailable warrant issued against him. The next hearing is on 1st of May.
Not to attend the judicial work and administrative work. Without hearing my say, the Honorable Judges passed that impugned order, which is against the principle of natural justice and also against the prime Articles 1421 of the Constitution. Honorable Judges violated the principle of natural justice and the prime Articles 1421 of the Constitution. As such, the Honorable Judges functioning and operating judicial power with malafide intention, besides possessing vengeance against a Dalit judge.
And news from down south. Well, the Election Commission has issued a show-cause notice to the O Paneerselvam faction in Tamil Nadu for allegedly peddling the electric pole symbol as AIADMK's original symbol of 2 leaves. Well, the Commission's notice came after complaint from the AIADMK's VK Sasikala faction, which alleged that the Paneerselvam camp was projecting its electric pole symbol as a 2 leaves symbol to mislead the voters. Well, the Commission has itself carried out investigations before issuing the notice. Well, rival AIADMK factions were allotted new symbols and names after the poll panel had barred them from using the undivided party's two-leaf symbol for the Chennai's RK Nagar Assembly by poll. While Sasikala camp will contest on the hat symbol, the O Paneerselvam camp is using the electric pole symbol. And the Central Bureau of Investigation on Friday filed a charge sheet against Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh and his wife in the disproportionate assets case. Well, the charge sheet was filed against 9 people before a special judge for alleged offenses punishable under Section 109 of the Indian Penal Code as well as the Prevention of Corruption Act. Well, the move comes after the Delhi High Court dismissed the Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister's plea challenging the FIR that was filed against him in the DA case. Well, the CBI report claims that Singh had amassed assets worth around 10 crore rupees, which were disproportionate by 192% of his total income during his tenure as the Union Minister. Well, the charge sheet, which will be considered by the special court, has arraigned around 225 witnesses and 442 documents as well. However, Singh has dismissed all the allegations against him. And what else is expected to happen in the course of the day today? Let's take a look at the day ahead. President Pranab Mukherjee will pay a 3-day visit to West Bengal, Jharkhand and Bihar. On the first day, he will attend the 52nd convocation of IIMC in Kolkata. On Sunday, he is scheduled to lay the foundation stone of Rabindra Bhavan and Haj House in Ranchi. He will visit the Vikramshila University monuments and a museum at Vikramshila in Bihar on Monday and the Guru Shyama Charan Lahiri Peeth. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the students participating in the Smart India Hackathon 2017 through video conferencing. Well, the address, expected to last for about 45 minutes, will be followed by interaction with the participants across multiple locations. Well, the Smart India Hackathon is intended for promoting innovation, out-of-the-box thinking in young minds, especially engineering students. The State Bank of India will merge 5 associate banks with it. 72 years after coming into being in Kerala, State Bank of Travancore will merge with its parent today. Besides the State Bank of Travancore, the State Bank of Bikaner in Jaipur, State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Patiala and the State Bank of Hyderabad will also be merged with the State Bank of India, and the assets of these banks will be transferred to their parent bank. And another short break in here. We'll be back with international and sports news. Stay with us.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. And what has come as a relief for India? The External Affairs Ministry has confirmed that a student who was allegedly brutally assaulted in Poland and was claimed to have died has survived the attack. Well, the External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj spoke to the Indian ambassador to Poland, Ajay Bisaria, regarding the assault on the Indian student in Ponzan city, whose name was not disclosed. Now, Swaraj has sought a report from the NY on the matter and has also assured that the authorities concerned are inquiring into all aspects of the incident. Meanwhile, Ajay Bisaria had earlier tweeted, preliminary inquiry suggests a student attacked in Ponzan tram on Wednesday. Thank God he survived. Getting details, unquote. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Malaysian counterpart Mohammed Najib bin Tun Abdul Razak will hold delegation-level talks in New Delhi today. Well, the two leaders will discuss the entire gamut of bilateral relations, including the issue of terrorism. Well, a number of bilateral as well as commercial agreements are also likely to be signed during the visit. The Malaysian Prime Minister's delegation consists of several cabinet ministers and senior officials as well. Well, he will also be accompanied by a large business delegation consisting of many of the top companies and businessmen in Malaysia. He will be accorded a ceremonial reception at the forecourts of the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the morning. And remember, he's on a 5-day visit to our country. And at least 24 people have been killed and more than 70 injured in a blast outside a mosque in northwest Pakistan. Well, the explosion took place in the city of Parachinar, a mainly Shia Muslim area on the Afghan border. Well, a car packed with explosives was left near the women's entrance of the mosque as the people gathered for Friday prayers. Well, Jamaat-ul-Ahrar, a faction of the Pakistani Taliban, said that it had carried out the attack. Well, authorities said a military rescue helicopter had been sent to the scene to help evacuate the injured. Many among the injured are said to be in a critical condition. Well, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif condemned the attack, saying that his government would keep working to eliminate the menace of terrorism. The bombing was followed by protests in Parachinar as the angry crowds accused the security forces of failing to protect them. Now, the bombing in Parachinar is the second incident since January and just as deadly. That attack was also claimed by Jamaat-ul-Ahrar.
गर्दी का वाक़या हुआ है और एक ख़ास मसलक को अटैक और उसके ऊपर क्या है कि हमला करवाया जा रहा है। गवर्नमेंट को बाकायदा इसका एक्शन लेना चाहिए, फौज को बाकायदा इसके ऊपर नज़र करनी चाहिए।
And 2 days after Britain filed its divorce papers, the European Union made clear on Friday that it will be the one to set the pace and terms for the talks. Well, the EU's draft guidelines for negotiations said that the bloc was willing to discuss a trade deal with Britain, but not before sufficient progress being made on other issues. Well, the paper presented by European Council President Donald Tusk will have to be approved by 27 member states. Other issues that need to be discussed include the status of the 3 million EU citizens in the UK and 1 million Britons in the EU as well. Well, the UK formally triggered the Brexit process on Wednesday after calling for simultaneous talks on exit terms and the future trade ties.
Saying that the talks which are about to start will be difficult, complex and sometimes even confrontational. There is no way around it. The EU27 does not and will not pursue a punitive approach. Brexit in itself is already punitive enough. Once and only once we have achieved sufficient progress on the withdrawal, can we discuss the framework for our future relationship. Starting parallel talks on all issues at the same time, as suggested by some in the UK, will not happen.
And in sports, PV Sindhu edged past a compatriot Saina Nehwal to reach the semi-final of the Indian Open Super Series. While the Olympic silver medalist overcame a tough challenge from the world number 8, beating her 21-16, 22-20 in a thrilling contest. Now, both the shuttlers were meeting for the second time at the international stage, with Saina having won the last encounter. Now, Sindhu will next face South Korea's Sung Ji-hyun in today's semi-final. Ji-hyun had defeated defending champion Ratchanok Entanon in another quarter-final match earlier. However, India's challenge in the men's category ended after Samir Verma went down fighting to Denmark's Anders Antonsen in 22-24, 19-21 defeat. That's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha television. Thanks for your time.